That's real because I know firsthand, just personally, just even the way I was raised in the environment that I grew up in, and just the nature of just my upbringing, period, from an environmental standpoint, from an athletic standpoint, all these things, right? You experience trauma, right? So I lived in trauma. Like that's what that was my space. Like that's kind of where it all started, right? And a lot of times, like for those that know me, especially for those that know that part of me, I'm completely like night and day from who I was then to who I am now, right? But it took some time to get there, right? It took a lot of lifelong experiences, um, being self-aware, having to really try to identify and learn how to, control myself because lack of self-control was a huge thing in my upbringing, right? The first thing I do is roar, right? Like you got this big roar that you feel like you have to be the biggest thing in the room once you feel like disrespected. And one of my brothers asked me a question. He was just like, man, I've been always wanting to ask you this, but I ain't never really know how to ask you this. And he was just saying, like, why do you or did you respond the way that you always did? Like, why you always felt like somebody tried you or somebody just not respecting you, right? And I had to think about it, man. I was just like, man, you know what? It's a good question. That's a real good question, right? Because you don't really have an answer until you sit down and think about it.
Right.
And it felt like a therapy session, but it was just two homeboys talking.
Nice.
And the conclusion I came up with was, and this is crazy, it was just like, dang, I always feel disrespected because when I was younger, I never really felt respected.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. That's
So
deep.
that's deep. That's deep, and it carried on to adulthood.